I'm Andy Wacker.
I'm Cade Michael.
And we're about to run the Mesa Trail FKT.
Yeah, give it a shot today. It's beautiful out here and we're gonna have a really good time.
It's a good day for an FKT. I'm Andy Wacker. I'm a pro trail runner living and training in Boulder, Colorado.
Hi, I'm Cade Michael, and I'm a trail runner.
I think it's funny because Boulder is basically the birthplace of FKTs. On Boulder trails, you're not allowed to have any races, and so FKTs are super important to be able to see how you stand against other athletes. Boulder has a long history of having professional athletes run on the trails, and it's just a cool way to see how you match up without having an official race. Mesa Trail is actually where FKTs started for me, and since then I've probably run close to 50 different FKTs. Mesa Trail is, right here in my backyard, and it's just been a trial grounds for people running for 50 plus years. I know Frank Shorters ran here back when he was at the height of his road racing game, and it just has a long history of people training right here on some of the hilliest courses we can find right in town here in Boulder.
So when we were trying to figure out what FKT we wanted to target, the Mesa Trail seemed like the obvious choice because it's one that we spend at least one day, if not more, and sometimes the better part of a week on. We train on the various segments of it, whether it's here from Chautauqua or over at NCAR or the access point at Shanahan or South Mesa Trailhead. Last week I think I ran Mesa Trail 4 or 5 times in different segments. And so it seemed like the obvious choice because it's kind of a home for us. It's where we can go up and access Green Mountain or Bear Peak or any of the high access points, but also it's where the trail team loves to go do training, whether it's a workout or an easy run. And it's just beautiful and accessible from sort of any part of Boulder.
So the Mesa Trail is 13.5 miles out and back, and it's got a lot of parts that make it special. So I think one of the hardest parts is that it's bookended by these really fast road sections. The first mile is wide and pretty smooth, and it just makes you hurt because you have to go fast on it. Then you hit a lot of beautiful single track through the trees. It's a big rolling course, basically net uphill into the middle, about 3.5 miles in. And then you end the first section of the out and back on a huge downhill, which is super fun until you got to turn around. And that's going to be one of the hardest parts, is not pounding your legs on this huge downhill on South Mesa Trailhead side, flipping around and doing the whole thing in reverse. So I set the Mesa Trail FKT in 2016, and it's actually been on my mind for a lot of years just because, again, that was one of my first experiences doing something like an FKT in the trail running scene. Was really getting into trail racing those years, and have never stopped. And it's actually funny because when I set that, I was an Adidas athlete. I was wearing the Adidas Adios, which is a road shoe with no tread. And since then I've been sponsored by Nike, and currently I'm sponsored by Salomon, and just kind of thought seems really full circle to kind of come back to where it all started and try to set a time now that I have so much more experience in racing in shoes that have tread and just bringing so much more to the table.
It's kind of scary going after this attempt. When Andy set this record, it was, he was one of the best trail runners in the world, and he still is, and he has been for the better part of a decade, and that this trail is one that's run often. It's obviously here in Chautauqua Park under the Flatirons, and people run this all the time, and this record has stood since 2016. So I think that's a testament to how good it is. And when we were looking at some of the segments we could go after, there's some that you're fairly certain that you could do and are comfortable with, and there's some that kind of scare you and that you're going to have to hurt. And I think that this is one of them. 630 miles is nothing to scoff at when you're running the flat roads out by the reservoir, but it's certainly nothing to scoff at on a trail that has almost 3,000 feet of climbing and some technical descending. And so we don't know if we're going to get it. I don't know if we're going to get it. I've run some of these sections and thought, wow, this is not even close to the time that we're going to have to run. And so I think that there's going to be plenty of discomfort, both physically in terms of the climbs. You're going to have to push those and go hypoxic and breathe deep, and you're going to have to do that when there's still over an hour left of running, as well as getting uncomfortable sort of mentally. You know, I don't have a ton of the downhill trail skills and abilities that Andy does, and so I'm going to have to toe that threshold of what I'm comfortable with and sort of push the limits of running some of those more technical downhills and staying on his heels as much as possible.
So yeah, I ran an hour and 28 minutes back in 2016, and obviously I'd love to break that time. It's going to be really hard because that was really fast. I was in great road shape, which I think again helps with some sections of the trail. But you know, I'm a different athlete, and I think that the trail is different. It changes all the time. They did some trail work on the Mesa Trail maybe 2 or 3 years ago that actually changed probably the distance and some of the character of the trail, and so I think that's important to know. And it's going to be fun to go back and just see, is that going to make it faster? Is that going to make it harder? I also think that you know, conditions really matter. It's May now. It can be muddy at different parts. It can be dry, so it can be hot in the summer. So it's going to be really cool just to see what it's like on the day. I've done a lot of FKTs, and I think now as an older athlete, I've really decided that it's way more meaningful to do them with other people. Trail running kind of in of itself is it's like a pretty independent thing. Like a lot of times it seems selfish because as a pro athlete, you're training and you're really thinking about yourself and how good you can do on an attempt or at a race. So bringing in someone and having that team experience is super important to me. I'm going to do this FKT attempt on Mesa Trail with Cade Michael. He's someone I'm mentoring this year. He's a young athlete that's relatively new to the trails and trail racing as a professional, but it's going to be really fun. He's bringing all the young fitness, and I'm bringing the old guy experience, and I think that's going to be the magic combo to break the time. So Cade and I met through the Trail Team, which is an organization I started about a year ago. And the point of the Trail Team is to find some of the best young athletes in the country. And by young, I mean around early 20s, and just really train them for being good runners, particularly with college running background on the track and cross country, and help them get the skills they need and the media exposure that they need to build their brand and become the fastest trail runners in the world. Cade's one of the people we've selected for the 2024 trail team on our elite team. And again, he's got like a lot of fast running experience, and I think it's really exciting because with just a little bit of trail work, he's going to be you know, one of the new guys on the scene and the guy to beat in the years to come.
This is my first year specifically focusing on trail racing, and I'm targeting the Golden Trail National Series, which is a race series across the US. I think there's 6 of the races, and they take your best 4. And if you win the National Series, you get a spot at the Golden Trail World Series final, which is in Switzerland this year. So hoping to sort of translate the national scene into the world scene and make an appearance getting to race the best guys in the world. And this FKT attempt is a great way to measure that up, because the current holder of the FKT was at the time and is currently one of the best trail runners in the world. Luckily, I get to train with him every day, and I get to see what that elite level looks like. And this is a great way to measure up against what that kind of performance looks like, how you can translate speed to the trails. And it's really cool to get to do it with the person who holds it and the person who mentors me both in how to run trails and run technical downhills, sort of coaches me as well, and even more so than that, getting to do it with the person who mentors me in how to treat people. Andy is an amazing person to get to train with and be around on a daily basis, because he's not only great for the trail running community, but he's just a good person in the community, generally speaking. He is welcoming to everyone, whether they're a runner or a cyclist or just another person in Boulder. He treats everyone with unbelievable amount of respect and reverence and kindness, and that's something that I want to mimic both in my running and as a person. So to get to go after that attempt with him it's going to be a really cool and special day.
Oh, paper, scissors. That's okay. Hit the watch. It's all good.
Yeah.
Oh,
Holy moly.
that was hard. Good job, dude.
Yeah. Oh, that was fun. That was so hard.
So definitely long by about 0.5, 0.6 miles with the reroute, which is good. It makes it faster, but it makes it longer.
Definitely.
So that was tough.
Oh. Felt like stronger every step on the back half for sure. I feel like I paced it well.
Yeah, nice. I did not. A little aggressive on the front end, making sure we were ahead of pace, but catches up to you with how long it is.
Yeah, that climb on the turnaround that's hard. Like you feel like you should be running like 7 minutes, but you're just like gassed.
Felt good for like a mile at the turnaround, and then it felt horrible.
Yeah,
I was just panicking.
Literally the exact
"I can't do
opposite,
it."
as you could tell.
Yeah.
That's when I had my panic. We both had our panic moments, and
It just was like, there's so much longer and it hurts. Okay, so good news, bad news. Bad news, missed our lofty goal of hitting the pre-2020 Andy Wacker 2016 time of 128 high, hour and 28 minutes high. But cool thing is, we hit actually a faster pace per mile. We hit 6:33 per mile average today, and it was, what was the pace for the old one?
6:35.
6:35, so 2 seconds per mile faster. So I'm super proud of that. And the main reason is it's about almost 0.7 longer than the old course. They rerouted part of the Mesa Trail to make it more sustainable. It's a little bit longer, maybe a little smoother, so hence the faster splits. But yeah, I'm really proud of our effort. We were ripping on the way out, going after it with everything. I have to look at the split. I should have it right here, but we hit just over 45 minutes for the turnaround, which was about 75 seconds slow, which is on par with that distance. I think we were ahead of pace at that point, and that's where it got hard for me.
Yeah, we we went out pretty hot, split the first couple miles faster than the previous time, and then that's where things started diverging a little bit from the old trail. I've never run the old trail. Andy set the old time when I was still just getting my driver's license. But it was fun to sort of chase the old ghosts, and yeah, I'm really proud of that effort. It's not every day I guess you get to run with your heroes, but recently it has been for me, which is really fun. So yeah,
it's good. What do you think we hit the best, and what do we hit the worst?
Oh, okay. Best, although most unwise, was probably the first mile. Right before we started, it was like agreed upon, let's go out slower than the previous one, and then we did it like
we hit 7:23. I think the old one, you were like, oh, you went out really hard, and I think I hit 7:30.
Yeah.
So yeah, a little aggressive, but you gotta set the tone one way or another.
Yep. And then weak points sort of occurred for both of us in the turnaround miles. Once you hit this big long 2 mile screaming fast downhill, and then you hit the turnaround point and flip and come back. And as soon as we flipped, I think I had trouble getting back into a climbing rhythm and hitting that granny gear, and I sort of had a bit of a panic moment for like half a mile, and my heart rate spiked. And then right as I got into a rhythm and started feeling good, then I think Andy had a little bit of a wobble, and so that mile on the turnaround was sort of tough, and we alternated pulling each other through some of our weaker moments. So
yeah, that was really tough. I think so we hit just about mile 7 at the turnaround. Through mile 8, the first mile of that climb, I was fine, probably pushing Cade for a second there. And then I think it just like sunk in, and I was like, oh no, we have so much longer to go. And it just really hurts on that climb. And yeah, it was really nice to have each other just to like pull each other through the tough parts and kind of bring out the best. So that was awesome.
Yeah, I think good character foils when it comes to running, because we have pretty different styles, which may be counterintuitive to age, but Andy can just, he makes turns and he hits the downhills and he punches so hard, it's just on and off the throttle. And I like to just like ease on the gas and keep it at a constant pace. And so I think that turns out really well because it definitely pushes you in parts on such a dynamic trail that's so much up and down and then long steady climbs and then lots of punchy stuff as well. Yeah, played well, and it was a really, really hard day. I was completely gassed at the end, but man, it was really fun. Type 2 fun, but it was really fun.
We were hitting 4:08 pace for the last bit here. Not surprising on this downhill. Like all out sprint, so that was pretty cool. That was fun to finish it off like that.
Yeah, I had the only real physical malfunction I went through is actually on this last like quarter mile, my forearm on my hand that I was holding my bottle started twitching. So as we were running past our team who were cheering us on and giving us a morale boost there, I was kind of going like this, and I wasn't actually trying to wave at them. I was just like twitching.
Just full body cramp, pushing hard, 4 minute miles.
Yep.
Nice.